Jobs, especially for expats here working, may be seen as appealing due to what we call the tax-free salaries. Employment opportunities, however, we have what we call the hidden costs, financial, physical, and emotions that significantly impact what we call our earnings and what we call the quality of life. Working as a security guard in Qatar has its own hidden costs. Yes, I want to give you my own experience. Learning about how fast I'll make money. Realizing the opportunities and hearing about the recruitment opportunities for security guards in Qatar. I quickly rose up. I had my savings from my account, which definitely I put in to see that I can be able to be part of the team that can be able to double whatever I've been earning. I almost equivalent, when you look at the salaries of security guards or salaries that are being told to us by recruitment agents, they are equivalent to what the public servants earns in our country. Yes, in this video, I want to share with you my own experience, that costs that I incurred or costs that definitely no one else will ever tell you regarding to what you call security guard jobs in Qatar. And here is going to be what you call a detailed breakdown of what you call the hidden cost of security jobs in Qatar or in the Gulf countries. By the way, is it your first time to come across Mex? Don't hesitate to give him a subscribe button. Remember, always Mexcreationtv, giving a guide living in Qatar, giving most of the very important tips that can help survive, and also giving you some of the technicalities and some of the small things you should know about the labor laws in Qatar. Yes, one of them is what you call the recruitment and visa cost before arrival. Yes, illegal recruitment phases. Some agents charge workers a lot of money. Unauthorized fees, for example. Remember, some of you may be coming in these Gulf countries to do work as a security, and you are charged, let's say, for example, charged 5,000, 6,000 for that visa, for us commission for you to get that visa. And remember, the salary for it, you may not be able to get the 5,000, or the salary that may not be to that amount. Yes, through employers, this kind of legal, what you call visa reinspection by recruiting agents, that extra fees, medical rates that are being paid, you find that you are being called. That is an extra cost that definitely you have to pay without arrival. Most of you will agree with me, before you go to those jobs that definitely you are doing right now, you found that there's a lot of input that you put in, that even now, that for the first contract that when you landed your job, let's say for example 2 days, you only had to pay back whatever you had to borrow from wherever you got the money from. Yes, we look at what you call medical documentation fees. Most of the recruitment is definitely will ask you about medical. Go do this medical from here, and definitely most of those medicals in your country are done to the pharmacies or done to the clinics that are affiliated to them, which at a higher cost. Most of you will agree with me that you cannot choose a clinic, you cannot choose a hospital for yourself to do the medical, and the recruitment company or recruitment agents definitely will guide you, or they will direct you where you have to go and do the medical at whatever cost you have to pay. Then we look at what you call another hidden cost that definitely will agree with me is what you call salary deductions. Yes, most of you are in these companies, but you may find that either they are kindly deductions which may be accurate or which may be accurate to you. Yes, say for example you had a sick leave that is not being paid for you and it's being deducted from your account. Let's say for example accommodation, food. Some of you're being deducted what you call food, food, and yet you're not being paid and you're not being given that food. Then some of you will look at some companies and they may what you call uniform equipment, in case you get to damage something or in case you get to lose something, you definitely have to pay for that uniform. And some of you been ended up to the period whereby when you are quitting the company or you're resigning from the company, you have to pay up for the uniform, or you even have to pay safety gears of those equipments that the company gave you when you're starting. Yes, we look at another one. We look at what you call delayed partial salary payments. Some of you may be in companies where you are paid not even upfront, you only paid in delays, let's say for example half of the month, or even some of you have balances or pending balance in due for almost 3 months. So you find that those are most of those, you find these are some of the hidden costs that definitely you may not know to life, and most of these costs will definitely drain your life or heart or all your plans as a person. And these are some of things that we do not see when we go. So I made my same mistake as a security guard before, and that was the reason I want to share most of these experiences. And you'll agree with me, most of you that have worked with the security guards, if you're so lucky enough, you'll find that the first 2 years of your contract may not be very easy for you to be able to cover up your costs. You will only have to paying out what you call the debts that you incurred from other person. Yes, when we look at some of the another hidden cost of security guard jobs in Qatar is what we call local working hours, or what you call overtime non-payment. To some of you will agree with me that you are companies, that those companies that are good, and that those companies that are immediate, and that those that are partially that go beyond. Some of you ended up, as my own experience I'll share, we used to work, some of the times we used to work what you call long hours, and these were not paid, and even the overtime was not paid for that regard. So you find that one, the overtime security, you have 12 hours, and you are approximately, you have to work 6 to 7 days in a week without no off, not even without what you call proper overtime consideration. Then the rest days, for those that you'll agree with me, if you work security guard or if you are doing security job, for those off days that we used to get, you find that the days will only be 1 day that has to be decided. So meaning that the same off day that you go to, you have to wash yourself, do your cleansing, and do your basic work. So you'll find that day you get off without even a rest, or without even having what you call a full day that you think is my day off. So you find that that is some of the hidden costs that people don't talk about regarding to what security guard jobs. Yes, we look at what you call on-call, night shifts, night call, disrupting sleeps in any or the other personal life, and which were uncompensated for. As a security guard, you most of you will agree with me, in some companies or in some projects, you must be 24/7 alert, that you can be called anytime, and you have to be called and you'll be able to respond. In case you don't respond, then it will be another issue that will definitely go or be incurred with what you call penalties. So those are some of what you call the hidden costs that definitely some of you will agree with me. Let us look at another one, is what you call health and safety risks. Yes, some of us, or some of you have worked in locations that have what you call extreme exposures, and guards often work outdoors, what you call extreme temperatures. However, I thank the government of Qatar and the Ministry of Labor that emphasizes what you call the personal safety for all security guards in one way or the other, depending and respecting what you call the work procedure and respecting what you call safety. Yes, we have another course when it comes to health, that is what you call limited medical support. Access to quality life, to some of you it may be a hard problem, especially if you are working in what you call the security guard. Being that most of you do not have what you call a healthy card for you to access, you find that most of you have got problems, and you find yourself incurring what you call high medical costs because you cannot access what you call a healthy card. You go to the private centers, which definitely will have to charge more than what definitely you have to agree, and yet your employer is supposed to be your employer right for him to provide what you call medical in any way or the other. Then we look at inadequate training. Yes, most of you agree with me, to some companies you've not been given what you call adequate induction training. So you find most of the times you find yourself falling in troubles or getting risk regarding to what you call injuries, also what you call what you call security instances that definitely you cannot handle, not just because you cannot handle, but because you had no enough training for you to be able to encounter such kind of problems. So you find that that is also another hidden cost that definitely people will not talk about regarding to security guard jobs. And something else I need to let you know, that most of you ended up even paying for what you call damages, which have ended up reducing what you call your personal income in any way or the other. Then also we look at another one, which is contract presentation. Yes, false promises, especially when you come to contracts. Some of you will agree with me. As a security guard, personally, from my own experience, I thought I'm coming to work in Qatar for only 2 years. But later on, I realized that my contract was unlimited, which had to move over for what you call 5 years. It was quite very challenging and quite very disturbing for me for the first 7 months of my life, realizing that I was supposed to work as a security guard for 5 years. However, later on, I had to accept and later had to agree. I was like, okay, fine, this is a scam on my table. I have to move and finish up. Then I have to move away. Then you look at some of the contracts that definitely go to sign regarding or proportion to what we call the offer letters. What we agree, we find that the salary is lower than what even we expect. Yes, in that regard, it becomes an hidden cost because it is not going to give you or it's going to help you to get all whatever plan, whatever. So meaning that you have to extend or work. Likewise, I told you, some of us or some of you, you worked even 3 years, but you cannot even have a saving that equivalent can be able to be doing for you something because of what you call the false agreement regarding to what you call salary. Then we look at what you call another under contract misinterpretation. We look at passport confiscation and what we call legal, but it's common. Some of you will agree with me, your passports have been taken up by your company or bosses. However, according to the Ministry of Labor, it does not emphasize you have the right to have your passports, but illegally, because of fear and because of trembling, some of you, you've been unable for you to have your passports are being kept by your employer. So you find that also the ability, you can never have the ability to leave the country at your wish or even switch job in any way or that. Yes, also we look at something else, that we look at what you call limited job mobility, employer sponsorship system. You find that as a security guard, you must have what you call an NOC for you to move from one company to one employer to another. And some of you have been left out, especially because of fear, and you failed or you've not been able to move to a new employer or to move with new company. So you find that is some of another hidden cost that most of you'll agree that you'll not understand. Then we look at emotion and mental strain, isolation, leaving those camps and leaving those areas that are socially isolated, no enough or sleep, no off. You find that you are being somewhere in one or the other. You are emotionally and mentally strained. However, let us try to see what is definitely that you can do to avoid what you call the hidden cost of what you call security guards. If you are planning to come to Qatar as a security guard, verify the contract before you are coming to Qatar, signing and retain a copy. Don't pay legal recruitment fees. Report your embassy or Qatar labor authorities in case your company requests you to pay what you call extra legal fees. Then know your rights according to the law, that include what you call overtime, weekly day rest day off, medical insurance, and what you call end of service bonus. Hope I've tried to share something for you. Thank you so much. By this, always Mex, trying to give you a guide living in Qatar, working in Qatar, and what it requires regarding to the labor law. Is it your first time to come across Mex? Don't hesitate to subscribe. Give me the subscribe button, and always follow